Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pert. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth.
It's time. First Contact Radio. We have live. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? We made it to the end of the week. Today is Friday. It is the 6th of February. All right, we got a sun sign in Aquarius, a moon sign in Virgo. It's going to be that way the entire day. So, basics of how I like to look at things. What are the elements involved? The sun sign, which is the conscious mind. Conscious minds are the things we actively think about, as opposed to the unconscious mind. Unconscious means underneath. It's not the conscious mind, it's the mind underneath. The conscious mind, that's thinking below the surface, like in the dream world or when we meditate, things like this. So on the conscious mind, we have an air sign. Air moves. On the unconscious mind, the subconscious, we have an earth sign, which is stable. So earth is stable. So you have these two signs. So you have this groundedness which is taking place with the unconscious mind. With the Virgo energy, Virgo is just moving along, taking its time. Patience and timing are two keywords associated with Virgo. In the tarot card of Virgo, we have the Hermit, which is all about patience and timing. The Hermit comes out to shine the lantern. So there's a lot of stability that goes with the Virgo. But the Virgo is also about analyzing things. So there's a lot of analysis that takes place as well that is now into a mental activity. And that mental activity of analysis can affect the air, the words and the actions that are, occurring on the conscious mind. So the conscious mind is moving around, being active with this Aquarian idea. What's going on in the future? What could we create? How can we make this a better world? The unconscious mind is just moving along slowly, saying, just be patient. Everything will work itself out according to the right timing. You just need to learn to be patient and shine your light with the world. Let that be your stronghold. Let that be, your stable ground that you are on, that light. And then let that shine out as the words and the actions. Okay? Those are some ways I like to look at things. The aspects to deal with. Number of aspects today, as you could see here. We've had, coming up, okay, we had Venus was in an opposition to Virgo. So Virgo is about analyzing things. It's the Hermit. Venus is the Empress. So the Empress and the Hermit were on the teeter-totter together. The Empress wants there to be imagination and creativity. The Hermit is just saying, just walk that middle path, just shine that light. And they could be a good synchronicity between the two of them. So that's what we're looking for, that balancing between how we're analyzing things and how we're using our imagination. We don't want to get too logical. We want to kind of find a nice good balance in there. Then we had a nice trine energy that occurred between Pluto, deep transformation, and Virgo. So all of this happened while we were still, most of us were still asleep in this part of the world. And then just a little over an hour ago, an opposition took place with Chiron, the wounded healer. So there is something implied in today about learning about healing. Virgo is a healer as well, as a teacher, a healer, shining the light for others, to help others. So we have this healer aspect and the one who wants to be healed, the wounded healer, on the teeter-totter together, finding balance with each other. Okay, so we want to find a way to heal ourselves, to look at that part of ourselves, be patient with ourselves, and understand that when we do, there's something underneath that needs to come to the surface, but will only be allowed when we're patient with it. So we want to, allow this energy to play itself out. And then Jupiter and the sun sign Aquarius, they become oppositions a little bit after noon. And so Jupiter wants to expand everything bigger than what it is, make more of it. It's a tarot card would be the card of the wheel. Things are changing, expanding. And then the sun is the futuristic place we want to go to. So there's some good synchronicity. We could really see some expansion on our ideas of what we want to see for the future. It's important to keep our feet grounded, so our ideas are grounded. We can bring them into manifestation. But today's a real opportunity to, I think, to see how these are going to play together. Can we expand our present space while at the same time looking at the future? And then as we get to the evening or later afternoon, opposition between Mars and the moon Virgo. So Mars wants to throw a whole bunch of energy into the mix. And here we have on the other side Virgo, the Hermit. So these two are going to be opposite each other. The Hermit wants to analyze step by step, move things along steadily. An earth sign. Here we've got a fire sign, just wants to go out and burn, passion or war, one of the two, but it just wants to energize a situation. So we want to make sure that the energizing that's going on is going to be channeled properly. And so as it gets to the afternoon, just pay attention how your energy is being used, how you're channeling it. And then that's mainly what we're looking at today. So lots of opportunity for change and analysis. But just remember, Virgo is about analyzing things. Virgo, an earth sign, is about trying to stabilize our physical world by analyzing the things and the situations around it so that we can make improvements to them. And being that the Hermit is the card that represents Virgo, Hermit's about patience and timing. Hermit is the one who walks the middle path. So that's the lesson for us to learn as we go through today. So as Chiron is in the mix, as Mars is in the mix, as we're being challenged, we want to walk that middle path. We want to be patient with the energies that we're dealing with, patient with the healing, patient with what's coming forth from inside of us. Okay? So there you have it. Let's move on to the Jewish calendar. Today is 17 Shavat. 17 Shavat, the daily thought. Not about anything. People think the Torah is something that comes to explain our world, what has happened and what will happen, where each thing belongs and what to do with it. In a way, this is true, but ultimately Torah isn't about anything. Everything is about Torah. God emanated light, created a world, and filled it with events, people, and things. Also, we would have a means and metaphor to discuss his thoughts. Right, the current moon phase is a waning moon, 94% of the way back till we get to the new moon. Space weather, solar wind is 430.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is 2 at the moment. However, opportunity to get to 4 will occur in the next 24 hours. Coronal holes have really smoothed over. This one looks like it's smoothed over a little bit of something here and here, but no notification that we're going to be hit by anything. M-class flare possibilities staying at 20, X-class at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity 15 in the mid-latitudes. Higher latitudes it gets up to 30%, but it does seem to be stable over the next 24 to 48 hours between the mid and high latitudes. And in the sky tonight, it says Jupiter is at opposition tonight, opposite the sun as seen from the Earth, so it rises around sunset. Shines highest in the south around midnight and sets at sunrise. Opposition is also just about when an outer planet is nearest to Earth and appears bigger and brightest. So Jupiter's now 45 arc seconds across its equator. Its biggest this year. It remains essentially that large in your telescope all February. Okay. So all that explanation, we don't see it here, but Jupiter will still be up above it, off a little bit. Actually be more off to the right. So we're going to see the moon over here. So we'll look up and Jupiter will be off to the above and right. But we'll see it because it's so bright. Alright, and there you go. That's our cosmic weather for today. That brings us to UFO news. Dirk, take us away.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alright, UFO news. Today, only a few stories, 4 of them. 4 stories here. First story. It's a high-speed cloud orb caught over Avare, Brazil, January 31st, 2015. There's a nice, good close-up shot of this orb. This is a great report from Brazil. He describes a fast-moving object, the softness of a cloud forming around it. This is a cloud orb, but caught in the sky with few clouds making an easy catch. The eyewitness states that in January 2015, I sent some pictures to MUFON for you, MUFON, and that was the Pesquia, them to me. You cannot reach an agreement. The objects were undetermined. While this object photographed, unlike the last time, I see 3 more witnesses. Alright, here's the object they saw. So nice, good round orb. Something up at the top here. Maybe that's the entryway into the orb. If there's someone in it, I don't know. It doesn't say the size of the orb. Okay, no size here, other than they were taken with a zoom lens, 300 millimeters. Okay, let's move on from here. This next story is in Scotland. Don't be put off by this film just showing a light moving across the sky. Try to watch all the way through and you will definitely be discounting planes, lanterns, etc. And like me, will be questioning, what is this huge bright object? What is this? You decide. Filmed at 5:25 on the 1st of February from Kinlochard, Scotland, looking south-southwest. Very bright, large, reddish light moves across the sky above the hills. Filmed for over 15 minutes. This was definitely not a Chinese lantern. Too large, too bright, too long in the sky. Or it was not a helicopter. It moved slowly and silently, went behind the forest, trees on top of the hills, which are approximately 1 mile away and still appeared to be quite a bit further than this. But even though it was some distance, the size I was filming appeared to be large and very bright. Okay. So the video itself is 15 minutes in length. Checking out that object up there that just was sitting for some time. Okay. Moving on to a couple of stories from UFO Digest. The first one here comes from Chris Holly. Reports of orbs continue all over North America. During the last few months, I've had about 4 emails from people all over North America describing sightings of strange orbs. The reports were sent in by those who watched large, round, solid lights streak across the sky at enormous speed during clear winter nights. The sighting, one from California, one from Kansas, were similar in detail. The objects were large, round, bright, traveling at incredible speed. Other reports came from Maine and Connecticut, and both of those reports were from people who claimed that they witnessed large, round objects hovering over wooded areas. The 2 hovering reports both told me that the orbs were red in color. Both told me they watched the orbs hover high above the trees before simply disappearing with the blink of an eye. None of the people who emailed me in the reports were able to take any photos of the objects. They all claimed that the sightings were clear and that they felt fearful of the objects. I thought the reports were interesting, pointed out the fact that the orbs are still visiting and flying our skies from coast to coast. I have a friend who lives in Long Island on a hill that overlooks the Long Island Sound. His house is on a cliff, making his view of the water and the sky a clear view without trees or objects to muddy his view of the water or sky. He first called me about 3 weeks ago, told me he watched a fleet of round, white, to light pink objects shoot across the sky over the Long Island Sound with such incredible speed that he did not have time to run to his phone to click a few photos of the event. He told me that the fleet of 7 objects moved so quickly it was like watching lightning flash across the sky. However, it was distinct objects of different colors arranged in formation of an uneven V, with 4 objects on one leg of one V and 2 or 3 on the shorter side. My friend called my home again about 3 days ago at 8 p.m. and told my husband that one of these large pink orbs was quickly moving over the water, but when he tried to video, he could not catch the image. Okay, a lot more to this article. Check that out. And one more here. ET work, ET control, and world control. They're here. This is by Teresa J. Morris. They're here. ET control is wanted to be controlled by the global elite. The alien ET UFO community is expanding along with the paranormal. We are searching records from around the world. The Anunnaki were not the original energy or original creators of energy order. That is my opinion, and others in the share and question our ET UFO community. Many other websites, articles share offspring of societies in secret, not made public. Personal confidence to the royal had shared topics in order to bring them from the other side. Our alien ET UFO community, in a way of seeing aliens as us in various forms, we can learn to discern together while sharing our further information to confirm or deny. We discuss, we are all connected energetically, we are facets of the sentient energy bytes that are particular in waves. However, are we capable of sharing intelligence in the future that create artificial intelligence in our computers, in our future biological carbon-based units? We don't really know if we are like Cro-Magnon, alien ape humanoids. That's why we cherish books like the Bible, isn't it? I know I am ET, but just saying. Alright, it says Cro-Magnon is a common name that was used to describe the first early modern humans of the European Upper Paleolithic. Who are they? Ice, space, and are they us? We share art, culture, education, communication. Are we all universal source and free energy? Can we wrap our minds around the sentient intelligence beings that collectively, from the universal mind and consciousness, is God? Detection theory is applied in many fields in diagnosis of any kind, quality control, telecommunications, and psychology. Where are we going with ET, alien UFO community? Have we so many websites online in cyberspace? We are about to change the UFO culture. Okay, so, well, let's see a little bit more. Is there any reality to the space race? And all of us have been told about the secret space fleet. We're now about exploring and mining in space using the moon minerals as resources. Various countries are speaking now on our planet, and why haven't we returned to the moon? The arguments are substantial for mining the moon. We said dead world moon and Mars. Why do we not man NASA and 27 space agencies around the world? Why are we moving into the future with our 3D accumulation of information? Why? And we are in information overwhelm. Being the consciousness connection is part of us that plugs us into the theory of everything grid. It is time to share that top 1% of those in the world work from the center of greed and do not work with true balance. The intelligent force that parked celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, earth, and stars is allowing us to decide for ourselves through our discernment. We are learning the stage and the mysterious that once perplexed our ancient ancestors. History is a bridge between the past and the future, and the present is ever changing. Alright, so good article. You know, it speaks to what it is that we've been learning as we go through the various texts from the Nag Hammadi. We're going to get to that momentarily. Let me jump away for a moment, and I'll be back.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
let's continue on. Continuing on. So, as I was saying, we've been getting a lot of information from the Nag Hammadi text we've been reading, and it ties into the understanding that was just expressed in this last article, the UFO article. There are extraterrestrial races that have been involved down here on Earth. We understand that they are referred to as the archons, the authorities. According to the story that we've been following, which seems to be the general story throughout the Nag Hammadi Library here, that Earth was evolving, or the universe was evolving nicely. You had God, the Father, you had the Mother, you had the child that was created, the Christ consciousness, and then from there, more realms were created. From these realms were created other realms, and in line with all of this creation, at some point along the way, in one of these realms, there was some sort of dissension that took place. An error occurred, and out of this error, we got Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth was the one who went off as an imperfect being, created out of ignorance, and then was the creator of this material world that we live in, the creator of this universe, the creator ultimately of humankind. So we have this creator God, Yaldabaoth, Yahweh, who was in charge of creating humankind, but wasn't doing so from the best place, wasn't doing so from a place of let's make humankind to evolve and be the highest potential. It was more to let's make humankind to be a slave race. Let's find a way to enslave God into the body, and that was the objective. So none of these stories are really making their way into the Bible in this regard, which is unfortunate because so many people follow the Bible and the New Testament, the Old and New Testament, without questioning the stories that are in there. And yet we see that these stories, there's much more to them, because these are all books that very easily could have been in the Bible, but were left out for whatever particular reason. So we've got a situation where we're going to need to use our discrimination. There is going to be a time when we are going to be experiencing ships coming down and visiting the planet more directly, having interactive communication, and we're going to need to decide who are these archons that are holding us back. Are they ones who are going to be coming down? Are they out there, or are they already here? Are they those who have embedded themselves in our society in places of religions or governments or institutions that suppress information? It's kind of like we are living in the situation that occurred in the movie They Live. Seems like it, doesn't it? So these stories seem to be, as I'm reading them, they all seem to be tying in together. From the UFO story to the Archon story to Nag Hammadi stories to the ancient alien stories, we kind of get a sense of where we're headed, what's going on. But all of it boils down to each and every individual is connected to divinity. And we have forgotten that. Jesus came to remind us that we are connected to divinity, so we can rise above the state of ignorance that we were in because of how the creation took place so long ago. Now Yaldabaoth, who we follow, was eventually overthrown and replaced by Sabaoth, his son. So we need to we just need to be more aware of these different deities and understand how the Old Testament, as is written, is not necessarily being honest with us about who's who and what their intentions are, so that we can rise above the situation. You know, before I get into reading this next section here, I have to say that in all of this, there's not one bit of information that I have learned in any of this that has taken away from my faith in who Jesus is and what his mission was. Not one bit. If anything, it's strengthened it. And I know that's a concern because people feel like when you read this new information here that something's being taken away. Someone's going to take away Jesus from you. Someone's going to take away your faith. And that's not the case. None of this is intended to take it away. As a matter of fact, it's intended to give it back. Because the ironic thing is, when one goes through the Bible and reads the stories that are incomplete stories, there is an attempt to take away your faith. There is an attempt to keep you from truly understanding what the deeper aspects of the stories are. So, as the saying goes, the truth will set you free. That's a very, very important thing for us to certainly be aware of, because the more we understand about who we are, where we came from, what our connection is to divinity, the better off each and every one of us are going to be. And as we open our eyes, we'll see this for ourselves. We won't have to validate anything outside of ourselves, because we will have gone inside where the validation occurs. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with this next document from the Nag Hammadi. This one is called the Treatise on the Resurrection, and it's a shorter piece. I thought I'd be able to finish this today, so let me get to it here. The Treatise on the Resurrection, translated by Malcolm L. Peel. Some there are, my son Reginos, who want to learn many things. They have this goal when they are occupied with questions whose answer is lacking. If they succeed with these, they usually think very highly of themselves. But I do not think that they have stood within the word of the truth. They seek rather their own rest, which they have received through our Savior, Lord Christ. We received it when we came to know the truth and rested ourselves upon it. But since you ask us pleasantly what is proper concerning the resurrection, I am writing you that it is necessary. To be sure, many are lacking faith in it, but there are few who find it, so let us discuss this matter. How did the Lord proclaim things while he existed in flesh and after he had revealed himself as the Son of God? He lived in this place where you remain, speaking about the law of nature, but I call it death. Now the Son of God, Reginos, was Son of Man. He embraced them both, possessing the humanity and the divinity, so that on one hand he might vanquish death through being the Son of God, and the other hand, through the Son of Man, he might have the restoration of the pleroma might occur. Remember, pleroma means the fullness. So we're hoping here that the Son of Man is going to help to restore the fullness of God's entirety. So because he was originally from above, a seed of truth, before the structure had come into being, and many dominions and divinities came into existence. I know I am presenting this solution in difficult terms, but there is nothing difficult in the word of truth. But since the solution appeared so as not to leave anything hidden, but to reveal all things openly concerning existence, the destruction of evil on one hand, the revolution of elect on the other, this is the emanation of truth and spirit. Grace is of the truth. The Savior swallowed up death. Of this you are not reckoned to be as being ignorant, for he put aside the world which is perishing. He transformed himself into an imperishable aeon, and raised himself up, having swallowed the visible by the invisible. And he gave us the way of our immortality. Then indeed, as the apostle said, we suffered with him, and we arose with him, and we went to heaven with him. Now, if we are manifest in this world wearing him, we are that one's beams, and we are embraced by him until our setting, that is to say, our death in this life. We are drawn to heaven by him like beams by the sun, being restrained by anything. This is the spiritual resurrection, which swallows up the psychic in the same way as the fleshy. But if there is one who does not believe, he does not have the capacity to be persuaded. For it is the main of faith, my son, and not that which belongs to the persuasion. The dead shall arise. There is one who believes among the philosophers who are in this world. At least he will arise. And let not the philosopher who is in this world cause to believe that he is the one who returns himself by himself, and that because of our faith. For we have known the Son of Man, and we have believed that he rose from among the dead. This is he of whom we say he became the destruction of death, and he is a great one in whom they believe. Great are they who believe. The thought of those who are saved shall not perish. The mind of those who have known him shall not perish. Therefore we are elected to salvation and redemption, since we are predestined from the beginning to fall into the foolishness of those who are without knowledge. But we shall enter into the wisdom of those who have known the truth. Indeed, the truth which is kept cannot be abandoned, nor has it been. Strong is the system of the Pleroma, small is that which broke loose and became the world. But the all is what encompassed it. It has not come into being, it was existing. So never doubt concerning the resurrection, my son Origenos. For if you were not existing in flesh, you received flesh when you entered this world. Why will you not receive flesh when you ascend into the aeon? That which is better than the flesh is that which is for the cause of life. That which came into being on your account, is it not yours? Does not that which is yours exist with you? Yet while you are in this world, what is it that you lack? That is what you have been making every effort to learn. The afterbirth of the body is old age. You exist in corruption. You have absence as a gain. For you will not give up what is better if you depart. That which is worst has diminution, but there is grace for it. Nothing then redeems us from this world, but the all, which we are saved. We are received salvation from end to end. Let us think in this way. Let us comprehend in this way. But there are some who wish to understand, in the inquiry about those things they are looking into, whether he who is saved, if he leaves his body behind, will he be saved immediately? Let no one doubt concerning this. Indeed, the visible members which are dead shall not be saved, for only the living members which exist within them would arise. What then is the resurrection? It is always the disclosure of those who have risen. For if you remember reading in the Gospel that Elijah appeared and Moses with him, do not think that resurrection is an illusion. It is no illusion, but it is truth. Indeed, it is more fitting to say that the world is an illusion, rather than that the resurrection which has come into being through our Lord the Savior Jesus Christ. But what am I telling you now? Those who are living shall die. How do they live in an illusion? The rich have been poor, and the kings have been overthrown. Everything is prone to change. The world is an illusion, lest indeed I rail at things to excess. But the resurrection does not have the aforesaid character, for it is the truth which stands firm. It is the revelation of what is, and the transformation of things in a transition into newness. For imperishability descends upon the perishable. The light flows down upon the darkness, swallowing it up, and the pleroma fills up the deficiency. These are the symbols and the images of the resurrection. He it is who makes the good. Therefore do not think in part, Origenos, nor live in conformity with this flesh for the sake of unanimity, but flee from the divisions and the fetters, and already you have the resurrection. For if he who will die knows about himself that he will die, even if he spends many years in this life, he is brought to this. Why not consider yourself as risen and already brought to this? If you have the resurrection, but continue as if you are to die, and yet that one knows that he has died, then why do I ignore the lack of exercise? It is fitting for each one to practice in a number of ways, and he shall be released from this element, that he may not fall into error, but shall receive again what at first was. These things I have received from the generosity of my Lord Jesus Christ. I have taught you and your brethren, my sons, concerning them, while I have not omitted any of the things suitable for strengthening you. But if there was one thing written which is obscure in my exposition of this word, I shall interpret for you when you ask. But now do not be jealous of anyone who is in your number when he is able to help. Many are looking into this which I have written to you. To these I say, peace be among them and grace. I greet you and those who love you in brotherly love. Okay. All right. So, pretty good, huh? It speaks over and over the idea of resurrection as I'm coming to understand it from all of this is simply a revelation, a revealing of all that we have come to understand. That we were in a state of ignorance. This whole idea of original sin, just take that one and throw that one away. That was brought about by Augustine. St. Augustine, later on, he decided that he was going to implement this. It wasn't part of the original package. You don't hear anything going on and on any of the stuff we have been reading that is about original sin. It talks about an error that occurred. An error, a mistake. So this error occurred, and out of this error, we lost sight of our divinity. And through the process of humankind being born, being trapped in this physical vehicle, we needed to have a way out. The escape plan, so to speak. Jesus was that. Jesus showed us the escape plan. Showed us that when we leave this body, we continue on. So the resurrection wasn't necessarily about him coming back to life in the physical world. It was showing that we exist beyond the physical. And that is something that all of these writings support and show and express. And when we connect into that, we don't need to wait until our physical death to understand that connection. We can have that connection now. We can allow our consciousness to rise above whatever the situation is, to be resurrected from the state of thinking that life is dead and that there is a wall that we're about to hit, to the freedom of understanding that we're just here temporarily and then we're going to go on someplace else. So in all of that, we have been saved because the ignorance prior to that wasn't one of fully understanding. So good information here. As with any of these texts in the Nag Hammadi Library, I think that they need to be read multiple times. So the links are available so you can check it out and read through, and you'll find that each and every time you do, you'll understand a little bit more because a little bit more clicks in. All right? All right. Let's move on from there. I've got an article here today. We've talked a lot in the show about the pineal gland, the third eye right here. And this is an article that talks about another way to help open the pineal gland and using some nutritional supplements. And this is one, melatonin. You may have heard about it. Melatonin is something that helps us sleep at night. I've been researching melatonin, how it's secreted from the pineal gland. The pineal gland, also called the pineal body, epiphysis cerebri, epiphysis, or the third eye, is a small endocrine gland in the vertebrate brain. It produces melatonin, a hormone that affects the modulation of wake-sleep patterns and photoperiodic functions. The gland is activated by light and controls the various biorhythms of the body. It works in harmony with the hypothalamus gland, which directs the body's thirst, hunger, sexual desire, and biological clock that determines our aging process. The retinal clock produces melatonin. Researchers are now looking for the exact location of this clock in the human eye and expect to find it. No one knows yet what the separate clock is for or how it relates. When puberty arrives, melatonin production is reduced. The pineal gland secretes melatonin during times of relaxation and visualization. As we are created by electromagnetic energy and react to this energy stimuli around us, so does the pineal gland. In a July 23rd crop circle, the basic chemical composition of melatonin is diagrammed by the crop circle makers. What do you suppose this crop circle message means, and how does it relate to melatonin? It says, well, melatonin possesses the same basic molecular structure as the LSD molecule. It is not at all difficult to imagine how this substance could be metamorphosized into a psychedelic material, but so far injections of melatonin have produced no altered mental states in humans. Melatonin supplements have been available in the United States since 1996. It is a hormone produced by the pineal gland in the brain. Neurotransmitter tryptophan is a precursor. The FDA does not regulate the use of the supplement and has issued a general warning regarding the use of any kind, following the dosage on label, and seek medical help if there are any side effects. Melatonin is generally used as a sleep aid or to help overcome jet lag more quickly. The National Institute of Health have done meta-analysis on studies of melatonin. In several cases, the organization suggests that further studies be done to better understand the best and safest uses for melatonin. And it says benefits. They found generally administering 0.5 to 50 milligrams of melatonin can help an individual fall asleep. For people with chronic sleep disorders, it may be a useful supplement. Has some side effects and so on, but there you go. Good article. Good article. You might want to explore with it. I myself have used and do use melatonin from time to time, and I could tell you that definitely works. Times when at the end of the day I'm a little bit wired and can't sleep, take 1 or 2 of these melatonin, and within about 20 minutes you're in a nice, comfortable, relaxed, ready to go to sleep mode. And I always have good dreams and wake up really feeling refreshed. So I think it's definitely a very, very useful thing to have. So check it out yourself. You might find it to be equally as useful. All right, that brings us to a message today. Today it comes to us from SaLuSa. There we go. SaLuSa.
SaLuSa.
February 6, 2015, by Mike Quincy.
SaLuSa.
Turmoil continues upon your earth, yet at the same time the light is continuing to increase, adding strength to those who are spreading the light. We cannot yet predict when it will become the dominant force, but that time is fast approaching. With the ever-increasing levels of light there can be no other outcome, and it is noticeable that more people than ever are ready to actively show their support for the light workers. As time progresses there will be a coming together of many more people, and their work will help to hasten the true beginning of ascension. We encourage you to remain safely within your light, and to not get directly involved in vendettas against the Dark Ones. They will meet an end dictated by their actions against humanity over millennia of time. They have set the path in motion that leads to their demise, and an end to their actions against those of the light. We sense the frustration that you feel at the continuing troubles in the Middle East. However, be assured that we are doing as much as we are allowed to, and have prevented the escalation of the war that is taking place. People ask why we do not step in and stop it, but that would be interfering with the karmic path that has been set in place. Until lessons are learned we can only try to limit the loss of life and damage that is taking place. Your whole experience in this cycle has been intended to help you rise above the darkness, so that you in turn can help others. In that respect you have been extremely successful, and more souls are now awakening to the new vibrations. This is important if they are to overcome the darkness and move into the light. Many are now able to expand their consciousness and starting to become aware of the reason behind the changes taking place. There is so much waiting to be revealed that will quickly lift you up, and remove the obstacles that are holding you back. These largely arise from the efforts of the Dark Ones, who have kept you from learning the truth about yourselves. However, that is all changing. And in the near future you be given many truths about your role in the cycle that is now closing. Most of you are but shadows of your real selves, and as consciousness levels continue to rise, you will learn more about your real selves. You are far greater than you imagine or are even prepared to believe, but the truth will feel right as deep down you know the real you is a being of light. Whilst in the lower dimensions you have been acting from a limited consciousness, but it is now expanding due to the higher vibrations. The reality is that you are on your journey back to your higher state of being, and by leaving the third dimension you will be taking a massive step upwards. Looking around you it might seem unlikely that many souls are ready to rise up, but you will be surprised at how quickly they can change. Each of you are playing out a role that provides you with the lessons you need to continue evolving, and prepare you for the changes that are upon you. Before you are birthed each soul has an agreed link to their abilities and knowledge that will be needed to equip them and see them through their life. The real you is multi-talented and fully experienced to deal with life on Earth, but better still to move into the higher dimensions. As you are aware, your weather patterns are gradually changing for the better. There will be problems created by the changes, but you will have ample time to adjust. The net result will be a more acceptable temperature without the extremes that you are used to experiencing. The seas will also warm up, and when you take the two together you will find that many changes will occur in nature. Species of animals will move to conditions that are more suited to their needs. All told, it will all be for the better as you will enjoy a more temperate climate. Disease and other health problems will eventually disappear as the vibrations rise up. Aging will also slow down once you have reached adulthood, as you will be at a point where it no longer occurs. So as time passes you have continual changes taking place, that are beneficial once you are within the vibrations of the fourth dimension. The old vibrations are ceasing to be as effective as they were, so you will more and more become aware of the changes. However, do not allow these events to distract you from your life plan, as everything will settle down quite nicely. You will of course have been aware of such possibilities before you incarnated upon Earth. You will therefore have a knowing about the changes as they make their way into your life. We are alert as ever to what is happening on Earth, and will always do our best to keep you informed. The future is bright, and as time progresses we will be able to come much closer to you. Mother Earth is dealing with her own needs, and is very active because of the need to raise her own vibrations. In fact, regardless of how the human race progresses, she will go ahead with the necessary changes that are helping create the new Earth. You are both dependent upon each other to ensure a smooth transition to the higher levels. So the sooner man stops raping the Earth, the sooner it can be restored to its prime condition. We have however looked far ahead, so allow time for these coming changes to manifest. They will not happen overnight but will occur in an orderly way. Deliver of the prosperity programs and new governance are amongst the initial changes, and are waiting in the wings. We hope that you are preparing yourselves for the changes where you are personally concerned. We refer to changes that will allow your body to become more healthy, and that relates to your choice of food. Keep to fresh foods rather than processed that usually contain various chemical additives. Exercise is also important, and even just walking helps, as opposed to rigid exercising. I am SaLuSa from Sirius, and at such an important time in your lives, try to help follow the changes. I leave you in love and light.
Thank you, SaLuSa.
All right, good message from SaLuSa, speaks to all the same information. Comes to mind as I'm listening to what is being said, and we are kind of getting the idea of the names of the characters involved. Yaldabaoth or Yahweh, Sabaoth. We have different angel names that came up through the readings and so on. And we can kind of see that some of those that were involved then, and then we listen to the names that we're hearing now, and it kind of might help us, point us in the direction of who these beings are. I know that there are those who think Galactic Federation of Light is, they don't feel good with them. But you listen to the messages that come from those, even though, like the video is labeled SaLuSa from the Galactic Federation of Light, but listen to the message. There isn't anything in any of the past stories that talk about a SaLuSa who has been down here to try to deceive us. SaLuSa claims to be from Sirius, and we're told that there's an important connection between us and Sirius. So I think there's a lot for us just to be open-minded about, to understand that maybe these are all different beings and so on. And yes, there are those who have done their part in keeping us enslaved, but there are those out there who want to do their part in helping us to be free as well. So we need to be open-minded just so we can discern who they are from who they aren't. All right, brings us to a message from the Warrior of Light today, followed by our meditation. Says, when I draw my bow, says Harigel to his Zen master, there comes a point when I feel as if I will get breathless if I do not let it fly at once. If you continue to try and provoke the moment, then you must release the arrow. Then you will never learn the art of the archer, says the master. Sometimes it is the archer's own overactive desire that ruins the accuracy of the shot. The Warrior of the Light sometimes thinks, if I do not do something, it will not be done. It is not quite like that. He must act, but he must also allow room for the universe to act too. And that's very important. We're co-creators. And as co-creators, we do our part, and then the universe does its part. If we're continually doing, and we don't give the universe its part or time to do what it needs to do, then we're just spinning our wheels. So remember, we have to do our part. The universe does its part. We're co-creating. We're doing a dance together with the universe. All right, that's our meditation. So let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And another deep breath and exhale, and just feel the wind, the breath going through your body. Allow this breath, as you continue to breathe, to go in and go through each one of your cells and wake them up. Shake them alive. Let every cell in your being reverberate towards remembrance, to shake you out of the forgetfulness of who you are and where you came from. And that as we all become awake, we remember more and more of who we are, where we came from, why we're here. And as we remember all of these things about ourselves, we become more effective in life. We're happier. Things work out smoothly because we are in sync with who and what we're about and why we are here. So let's just imagine as we walk through the world, sending this good vibe to others, a vibration of wakefulness. And let this be all we need to do as we move forth over this weekend, just to send a little positive vibe of wakefulness to each and every one we meet, whether it be silently or verbally, aloud. Makes no difference as long as we're just sending out these positive vibes. And when we pass a situation that seems to be troubled, we just send positive vibes to it and just imagine it changing for the better. So let's just do this over the course of this weekend as we walk through the world. Make a positive difference just by sending positivity into all that we experience. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey of sending out positivity and love and light. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the same place of light, love, positivity. Let's return our consciousness back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That is it, my friends. That is it for today. That is it for the whole week. Thank you very much for being here. All the links for this week's show are available, so you can check it out. We did a lot of reading. Got a lot of information from the Nag Hammadi. This information, as you know, which is quite heavy duty and sometimes need to be reread several times in order to understand it. So follow the links, go through, spend some time reading, rereading, learning the gist of it. Take it, break it down like you're doing a research, paper. Break it down, and as you break it down, you'll start to find out more and more what it means. Because there's a lot of wisdom in those words, and the more that you dig, the more wisdom you seem to find. So, something to consider over the weekend. Anyway, that's it. Have a great time. I'll be back on Monday. We'll continue on from there. I love you. Keep loving each other. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.